Hi folks, it's been a little while since we showed you the update on the bathroom. Last time we were together we were talking about electrical work. Now we're going to go back to plumbing for a bit with this video. Just a couple updates to connect the tailpiece here of the sink drain into the 1.5-inch line. You need a special connector, and that is what this is. On this end, it glues right onto the end of the 1.5 inch, and on this side, you can see there is this threaded nut that comes off of there, and you can see the one I've already put on here. This one I'm going to slide the tailpiece into of the P-trap, or the P-trap into that as far as it'll go in, and then just slide this down, and the tighter that I turn this threaded nut onto that, the tighter the connection will be, so you don't have any water leakage. So you need that kind of a connector to mate up the two, being 1.5 inch and this being 1.25 inch. So that's the first new thing I wanted to show you. Once that's done, then actually the plumbing for now will all be completed upstairs here. I just have to run my lines then down through the next couple floors and out to the septic tank, but that's getting ahead of where we are. But let me show you what else we've been up to here. I didn't try to film this while I was doing it just because it's such tight quarters here in the closet. You wouldn't be able to see me if I was in here working anyhow. Let's start first here with our supply lines. You can see I put the T's on, but as I told you before, because I want to keep all my plumbing and electrical within that first joist cavity below, I had to stagger the holes, so I couldn't come straight down from the T's. So what I did is I used two 45 elbows to bring the lines over to where the holes are through the floor, and then they're down into the floor. When I get down there, I can connect up from there. Now notice one thing I also did. I always try to do this in my plumbing, especially if it's in a place where you're not going to see it publicly. And remember, this is inside of a closet. I always mark my cold and hot water lines. That way, if you're working and you forget what's what, you don't need to make a mistake and cut the wrong line or hook it up wrong. I know that always in our sinks, showers, etc. If you notice right here on this, there, the cold is on the right, the hot is on the left. That's standard. So I just need to make sure I keep my lines that way so I don't get them crossed. The hot water comes out of the cold line and vice versa. And also I've marked them in here so that there'll be no confusion for anybody else who might work on this in the future too. Now what I've also done, since I'm not finishing off this plumbing now until later when I put the hot water heater in the shower in, is I've come up out of the top of the T's with lengths of pipe, and I put caps on them. Just stub them off, that way nothing can leak. When I go to do this, when I do install a hot water heater, I'll just cut those off with my PVC cutter, put a straight connect on, and then I can continue the pipes wherever they need to go in relation to the hot water heater. Remember, one of these, the cold water line, is going to run up to the hot water heater to feed it, and then there'll be another pipe coming out of the hot water heater with the hot water that I'll connect up with the hot water line here as it takes hot water to the sink and then later to the shower. So that's prep for that, but it also means that I can use the bathroom initially without having to do that other work. So there should be no leaks or no problems. Now I also connected up the 1.5 inch drain pipe from the sink. You can see the elbow there. It runs over to the corner where I had that hole drilled. I actually had to cut it out a little bigger to get the pipe down through, and this 1.5 inch pipe is running down through the floor, maybe 4 or 5 inches down, so that I can connect up there to run it over to attached to the main plumbing trunk when I get to that point. The other thing I did is I did put a T in there, as you can see, because here is where I'm venting the drain pipes for this bathroom, and I'm running an 1.5-inch line up and right out through the wall. I drilled right out through the wall, the outside of the house. I'm up 3 stories, so it was better to work from inside than out on a ladder. And after I got the pipe in, it's just open on the other end so that any sewer gases that escape can go right outside and dissipate in the air. But to seal it off, you can see there's this spray foam insulation that I've just kind of squirted all the way in there. It'll expand and fill in all the cracks, and it'll also seal up the outside hole around the pipe, so I don't have to worry about wasps or other insects getting in there in the summertime. So that stuff is wonderful for doing these kind of remodeling jobs. It's called Great Stuff. You can see the red can right there. You can get it anywhere. There you go. And it actually comes in 3 different varieties at this point. This is just the standard stuff, the cheapest stuff for just standard filling of cracks and openings. They also make a black can that is a big gap filler if you need to fill in a larger area, larger void. It expands further. And they have a blue can to spray in the jambs of doors and windows to insulate along the sides of the doors and windows. The reason you need that special stuff is it will not push against the sides of the door frames or against the sides of the window frames so that it pinches your sashes so that you can't get the windows up and down. And that's, you know, old work, new work, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you're insulated here along the sides of where you put your windows in. And we used to just tear and stuff fiberglass in there, but this is much better. But you have to use the blue can for that so that it doesn't pinch. It stays softer, and it still does a job of insulating. It just doesn't bind as much. But in this application, I wasn't worried about it. As you can see, it continues to expand out the hole a little bit. After 24 hours, when I know it's completely dry, I can shave that off. You can shave it off just with a simplest thing is just a steak knife. Just something serrated to cut it right off, and then I can put whatever I want over top of it. But it does the job of sealing off the cracks, sealing off any cold air coming in, and keeps the bugs out. So it's a win-win situation. So that's where we stand right now with the plumbing. All of the initial plumbing for upstairs is now done, and I'll be working below the floor, cutting out the ceiling in some places to get up into those, into that joist cavity to run my larger pipes, my drain pipe and my plumbing stack. And we're going to work our way towards the septic tank hookup. Remember, I'm working from the end to the main, just like I'm doing with the electrical work. In a remodeling situation like this, it makes the most sense, and I can take my time along the way. And then when you finally have your hookup, whether you're talking to the septic line or to your electric panel box, you're basically done. You can make sure that it works and you're ready to go. So we've got a lot more electric work to do up here yet before we head down, but I just wanted to show you how far we've gotten thus far with completing the plumbing upstairs. So stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.